The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Broadsword to Danny Boy. Broadsword to Danny Boy. Come in, Danny Boy. The chicken has landed. The chicken has landed, and the eagle is in the pot. We have a bad echo here. Why, I don't know. Let's double check to see what's going on here. Can anybody hear? There's a terrible echo. Wow. Anybody hear me yet? Oh dear, what's going on here? Something's wrong here. Let me try this one more time, but the echo's no good. No good. The bad echo. I've got to get this echo fixed, folks. It'll drive me absolutely nuts. Hold on just a second here. Well, it's got a echo on my end, so I don't know what to do about that darned echo. I'm going to hang up from Skype and call back. Just give me a second here. Testing 1 2 3. 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 This god darn thing is just. Now the trouble is, yeah. God, I hate the technical part of this. I can't stand this echo, folks. I'm about ready to just pitch it out the window, actually. Yeah, it's okay there, Duffy, but you ain't there. I'm here, and that makes a big difference. I'm just going to keep talking to hell with it, and we'll see what's going on. Hold on, folks. A couple people sent me an email asking me how I knew that the stock market was going to go down, that I have inside information on the war. Well, of course I did. The Secretary of the Interior called me, Secretary of Defense, and also the former Vice President, Al Gore, called me to tell me to get ready to go short the market. Now, boys and girls, come on now. We had on last week, we had Stan Hartley, we had Tim Bost, Shane Smolian, Norm Winsky, all telling us to watch this date of the shut up, of August. Oh, dear. I hate this echo. I'm going to have to quit this, folks. It's going to drive me nuts, and I'm having a great day, and I don't like to have this screw me up. Anyway, I don't like this. No. Has nothing to do with May. I'm gonna shut down and come back with you in a couple minutes. I'm not going to put up with this. So I'll be back with you in a few minutes, possibly. So bear with me, and we'll be right back. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Broadsword to Danny Boy. Broadsword to Danny Boy. Come in, Danny Boy. The chicken is in the pot. The eagle has landed. Okay, let's move on. Well, I've got some technical difficulties here, folks. I apologize, not to be surprised, given the fact that we've got such great markets here. There is a lot of things happening, folks, about the thing with China and Taiwan. I've been through these many times over the past 60 years. I want to share with you one of my favorite stories. I'll share them both to you because they're that important to me anyway. This time we're going to go all the way back to 1983, boys and girls, and I'm trading at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and I've been there about a year, so I know just about everybody there. And you'll notice this is the gold chart for 1983. It was September 1st, and we were setting right there at a beautiful 61% retracement. You had a gap down from Wednesday. It was Thursday, and I went into the pit to buy, and I was going to buy my usual 2-lot, and this guy that didn't like me very much, why I don't know. He was a local, pressing me to buy a 20-lot. Come on, big shot, buy a 20-lot. And finally, I just got mad at him. I just got upset mentally. So I took it. I said, take it. And so I took the 20-lot and immediately dropped $1. So now I'm down $2,000. So I walked out of the pit casually, and I said, all right, I'm going to pay the price on this. By the time I got back to the Lind Waldock desk, it was down $2. So now I'm down $4,000, and I'm not a very happy camper. And so I give the ticket to Reggie, and I said, Reggie, just take this back and liquidate it at the market for me because I made a mistake, and I said I'm going to pay the price and the heck with it. So Reggie gives the ticket to the runner. The runner's going, and he comes back, and he said, I lost the ticket. He said, what do you mean you lost the ticket? He said, it's on the floor somewhere, and I can't find it. I need a new ticket. Well, the market had rallied about $1. So now I'm only out, I was only about $3,000 or something. Yeah, about $3,000. So I was feeling pretty good about picking up $1,000. They rewrite the ticket, and the runner starts going back. He couldn't run. He had to walk. He starts walking back to the pit, and just as he left the desk, there was a flash news announcement coming on that 007, Flight 007, from, I believe it was United Airlines, had just been shot out of the air by a Soviet missile, and the price of gold had jumped $15, and I made $30,000 in 30 seconds, and it was an Air. It was Korean Air. Excuse me, you're right, Duffy. It was Korean Air, and it was the 8th of it was the 1st of September. It was a Thursday. I remember it was a Thursday because it was my poker night. When I left the exchange, right after that, because I had made so much money. I went over to St. Patrick's Church to say a prayer for the people and light some candles, and the priest was there, and I was able to give a nice donation to the church. He was able to break a $5 bill, so I was able to do that. But my most famous thing about these war stuff and why it's all interested in, or why it's all in the market and stuff, was due on January the 17th. Of 1991, we had the Desert Storm War going on, folks, and it was the most we could actually watch it. CNN did everything, and so it was really quite funny. Well, not funny to go to war, but anyway, we knew this war was going to come up. It was a new moon, and Schwarzkopf, he had book. The book, Sun Tzu, The Art of War, we attack on the darkness of the moon and all that stuff. So we pretty much knew that was going to be it. And so my daughter was working with me that day in Pismo Beach at the office, and I was bearish gold and I was bearish crude oil. Crude oil was about $42 a barrel, and I had sold crude oil and I had sold gold, and we had a beautiful Gartley pattern on the S&P. This was when the S&P was big handles. And so I bought that, and as I came in that night after the markets closed, I was up about $1,000 on everything, which wasn't much. I had 4 S&P on, 1 gold, and two crude oil. Yeah, 2 crude oil, 1 gold, and 4 S&P. But we didn't have an overnight market, so I had my hair cut that day. So I went in to get my hair cut at 4 o'clock. There was a phone call there from my daughter, Jill. She said, "Dad," she said, "you still had those positions on?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, Dad," she said, "you're going to get creamed." And I said, "Oh, why?" And she said, turn on the news." So I turned on the news, and there was CNN, and there it was, the 4th of July in downtown Baghdad. Well, I got back to the house, and I called the office, and the order desk for Drexel, because they had the best the best overnight desk than anybody. I was still trading through Lynn Waldock at the time, and their overnight desk wasn't as good. And I couldn't get through to either desk for at least 3 hours. I said, "Oh my God," I said, "this is going to be terrible." So finally, at about 11 o'clock at night, California time, which was 2:30 in the morning, New York time, early morning Baghdad, because it was midnight Baghdad when the bombs hit. And I finally got a hold of Richie Goldberg, and I said, "Richie, what's going on?" He said, "Oh, God, Larry," he said, "you won't believe it." He said, "These quotes," he said, I've never seen anything like it. And I said, "Well," I said, "give me the bat." There's no quotes on S&P and stuff, so I was interested in the gold and the crude oil. And I said, "Well, give me the quote on the crude oil." And he said, "Well, there's no quotes, there's no bids." And I said, "What do you mean there's no bids?" He said, "There's no bids, $4 or $5 lower." Stops don't work in a market like that, Marshall, because there's no liquidity on either end. That's why. So the bid was $4 lower with no bids. In other words, it was probably going to be lower. Crude oil opened $11 lower, folks, and it went down for the next year from $42 all the way down to $11 in January of 1992. I think it's when the bottom was finally made. Gold opened limit down and went 2 limits lower. The S&P on that day, the next day, the 18th, I think was still it still has a gap on the Dow Jones, and it'll be filled someday maybe. But anyway, that was the largest percentage that I'd ever made in any one day on a percentage base. Not the most I've ever made on a day, but the most on a percentage base. So when you hear this, you got to pay very, very close attention to it. And we're seeing a market that's screaming to me, you ought to be sold. Those of you that belong to 24/7, you know how bearish I was on the gold and silver just from the action yesterday. Did I think it was going to rally $20 and make a new high by $1 in gold at $17.99 and then drop $28? No, I did not. All I was pointing out the fact the news was extremely bullish and the market couldn't react. And what did it do today? It doubled it. you had extremely bullish news, potential war with Taiwan and China, which the odds of that is be like like the University of Pima County Community College winning the NCAA over Gonzaga. So that's why we're looking at some of these things here to tell you that the news is what really doesn't count. It's a reaction to the news, and we're seeing quite a bit. So I'm not sure that Bitcoin, I'm not following Bitcoin at all, whether it dropped or not, but these other markets are acting like it. But we had so many things to tell us that this market was going lower, and one of them, of course, we've talked about ever since we had all these guys on, Harley, Winsky, Boast, Arch Crawford, Shane Smolian, all of those guys were talking about the importance of the 28th of April, and you can see here we made a double top up there in the NASDAQ. This is a daily chart, folks. Look at the last 3 days. We made a high. We almost made a high in the Dow Jones yesterday, and look at it. Look what's happened. We've already broken through one standard deviation on the first day. The only other time we've ever done anything like that was back on the 22nd of February, and we went there. We dropped another 2 standard deviations. So this is really big time stuff. So that's why it's important. I don't have any inside information. I never have, and I never will. I'm a technician. That's what I'm doing. Let's take a real, just to show you what we were doing here. I brought this to your attention Monday, so nothing's changed. Look at this. We go exactly to a 382 on the euro. That's the most actively traded thing in the world. It breaks, makes new lows. What does it do? Last night, rallies to the next 382. I mean, that's all these things are, folks. They're just technical ideas of what's going on. But we had so many things telling us that the stock market was getting ready to have at least some type of correction, and this is a correction for sure with this kind of move that we're having. And one of them, every single day, I was talking to you about Apple and how bad it looked as opposed to the good news that came out. You can see the good news that came out at 39.80. That was a 786 retracement. As you can see, we went down. Yesterday, we rallied right up to a 382 retracement, spot on. And guess what that number was, folks? Do you remember that number? 134.04. That was the exact 61% retracement of that move on the upside. So it went back, it kissed it one more time, and now you see what's happened here today. So these are just numbers. That's all they are. They don't mean anything more than that. But I do not have any inside information. I never have, and I never will. Sometimes I wish I did, but I don't. So we'll see how these things are going to move out here for the rest of the day here. Hold on just a second here because I've got to double check. I've got some. So this has just been a spectacular day for all of us folks here at 24/7, which is really good. Folks, keep a close eye on the crude oil folks. We're back up here at this 65 level, and it's got a chance, 65.72, it's got a chance here to actually roll over. So keep an eye on that, too.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar's worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den trading room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, we had a question about what I thought was the most important thing of this whole thing, and I'll bring it to you again. But to me, it was just as easy to see as anything. Let's get this up here, and that is the New York Stock Exchange Index. You can see the fact that we were right at an exact 1.618. Boys and girls, you know, like Wells Wilder and a whole bunch of other people down the road, someday I'm not going to be here. But I hope people like Mr. Z and Marshall and Dr. Mark P. in the room and stuff will remember the importance of 1.618, folks, because 1.618 is old Obama's line in the sand against Syria. And that's our line in the sand against what we're looking at here in these markets, because if we go beyond those levels, we don't know, where they're going to go. We hit one today in July hogs at 1350. The high has been 1370. We're a little below that right now. But anyway, let's move on to the gold and silver. We have it's really telling us, folks, that we've made a major top here in the gold and silver. Now, maybe tomorrow it comes back and makes a new high. I don't know. But look how it's acted, folks. Silver, we did make a higher high than the previous day in the midst of a potential military conflict with two powers. Give me a break. And all gold could do is go up and make another high by $1. I mean, these are signs that there's something wrong with the market. There's no buying in there. And yesterday with that big run up, there was no increase in open interest. It's trying to tell you that there's not many people are doing it. I don't have any idea whether it's related to Bitcoin or the other things that are involved there, but that's all I'm doing. I'm watching how the market reacts to news. I've tried to give you some examples. We saw it in Amazon. The market screamed at you in Apple after hitting the 78% level. The market dropped 5% in just a matter of a couple of days. I mean, that's not a good sign to look at. So all I'm doing when I'm looking at these charts is to try to give me some indication of where the market is going to be. Oh, I have to tell you a sequel to that story. After the fill came back from the the Lindwall Dock desk, and I had no idea where I was for about 5 or 10 minutes. I really didn't. When Phil came back, I just couldn't believe it. So then what I did, I casually walked over to the gold pit and act like I still owned the 20 gold. I was putting bids way above the market, like I was still trying to sell them, just sort of to get that guy off. He never bothered me again, ever, not one more time in the next several years. We never became friends, but he didn't bother me anymore. So that's the nature behind that story. Okay, now one of the things that was telegraphing that the market was looking extremely weak was the fact that the way the semiconductors were acting. Look at the 3 drive to a top in Intel, double top, as a matter of fact. That's what 69, and then it has the big gap down. But that's what was happening to everything in that darn market. And if you remember, as we were bringing these to your attention on Monday, the fact that, hold on, that's not the one I wanted to show. Oh, yes, this is the one I wanted to show you. This shows you how this is from Arthur Hill at Trend Investor. We'll get this up here so you can see it here. It shows the difference between SMH and the S&P 500. And we had the 3 drive to a top, of course, in the S&P 500. But the semiconductors, which had been the leader of the pack, why all of a sudden does that mean anything? It's not doing anything. That's not a good thing. And then when you added to that, that we're looking at one of the strongest possible seasonals that can possibly get, and that is the fact that when you sell in May and go away, that all that was adding up, and that's all I'm doing. And all I was looking for is a correction, folks. No, Marshall, I don't know. God bless you, Marshall. Marshall, don't forget now, tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo, so you got to meet us at Guadalajara for a margarita. Unfortunately, it's packed at 10 o'clock in the morning, so we'll miss that one. But no, I don't know whether it's March the 10th. I believe it March the 9th, 2009. Marshall, I didn't believe on March 9th, 2009 that we were going to go up for 11 years. All I said in that newsletter was we're going to see the strongest rally that the stock market has seen since 1938. That's what I said, black and white. It's still there for you to look at. And I was right. The problem was I was only looking at the next 6 or 7 months. So that's the major thing to look at it. So now I have a little bit of trivia for you that I think is really interesting. Those of you that remember the General Robert E. Lee, he was trained at West Point. And he was one of the big generals of the Confederate Army, and he was an incredibly successful man. And I don't know if you know the real story behind this, but later in the war, he owned some property around the Washington area, and it came up for taxes. And this was during a war, so it was hard to get it. But they had made a rule that you had to be there in person to pay the taxes. So he sent his wife in to pay the taxes, and they wouldn't accept the money, because they wanted the land. And guess what? They got the land. And you know what that land is, folks? It's Arlington Cemetery. I mean, it's really an incredible thing. Just Google that. If you want to see a heartwarming story, I know there's a lot of fake news out there and stuff like that, but Arch Crawford sent it to me yesterday, and I thought it was just absolutely amazing. That's what happened. So anyway, we'll move on here to the next one that we want to look at here. A couple things that still look pretty interesting here. We were talking about this as we get up to this level right here. This is last week, last week, or maybe the week before. I don't remember. This was that super full moon that was up there, and there's where we were, with the SPY. We made that stuff. That's all history. And all we've known so far is that the market broke standard deviation down from the high, okay? So we know that their market's going to go a little bit lower. Whether it rallies today or not doesn't mean anything. But we had a correction. Now, if by chance, and there's always this good chance that we go up and make new highs now, this market can go ballistic, and there's a lot of reason for it. One is that Robinhood thing, they're always out there, and a whole much other stuff. By the way, since I can't get the prices, can someone give me the last price of Bitcoin? Did it get would it drop 10% or something like that when it dropped? I don't even remember where it was last time. Last time I think it was 58,000. So if someone be so kind as to tell me the last price they see for Bitcoin, I'd like to know, just for general purposes of what we're watching here this morning. And we're at 54. So we dropped about 10%. That's about right. The key point in the Bitcoin, folks, is 47,000. We get below that, there might be a little bit of a problem. But this, Bitcoin is not the leader anymore, folks. Ethereum is the leader. That's the one that has taken over. And so it's gained much more than Bitcoin has, and Bitcoin's actually rolled over a bit. So those are just a few of the things that we're sort of paying attention to. We've got a break coming up here. Let me double check to see where the things are in the market here. And where are we at? Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, shut the front door and raise the rent. Oh, boy, I love a Fibonacci coming to the door. Okay, let's take a look here, folks, at the natural gas, because when we get back, we need to talk about natural gas. And believe me, I got plenty of natural gas. I got 2 contracts. Let's get it up here, and we'll take a quick look at it, and we'll see where we are. Hold on, and we'll be right back after these few words.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Okay, we're back, folks, and I wanted to bring up the chart of natural gas because we made a slightly higher high than last week by $1. I mean, that's $100. which isn't much in that contract. It isn't very much in that contract. So we went to 3.00. The old high had been 2.9850, actually $150, and then it immediately went below it. Boy, that was a sign that it was not taking, really bullish news very well. So the risk there was very, very small. That's market feedback, folks. And if you're a trader, you really got to pay attention to that. You've got to read. Anybody that has not read The Reminiscences of a Stock Operator by Edwin Lefevre, and they're still trading, you really have done yourself a disservice. I swear to you, folks, I've read that book a minimum of 50 times, trying to figure out all the mistakes that I'd made, the first 49 or 59 years. I'm on my new book, 60-year one right now. But that's what you really have to do. You've got to start, using that, because that's basically market feedback. Now, I've been asked to talk just a little bit about the July hogs. I'll bring them up here. This is something, this is up to date, I believe. Yep, hold on just a second here. We'll get this up to date and look at it. And here again, we were looking at that price to come in at $13.31 per pound in the hogs. The high was $13.50, which was $30 US dollars. Now it's down to $12.25, so it's up about for about almost $500 right now, and that may or may not be a high. But the fact that it hit it and sitting there with this potential, hanging man. Let's try that again, Larry. That's a shooting star. That could be a shooting star pattern. That could be a significant bottom. The fact that it hit the 1.618. Now, how do you handle that? Well, what you have to do, if you're willing to sell at a 1.618, you got to say, okay, how much do I have to see whether I'm going to be right or not? Well, hogs trade for about $400 and some a point, so you can say, oh, I can take a risk of, like we do in the currencies, 40 pips or something like that, or 2 cents in gold. Well, $800 in gold. You have to say, I'm willing to take that risk to see if the 1.618 works. Well, I have a slight advantage over almost all of you out there, because I studied these patterns for the past umpteen years, actually 5, 6, 7 decades now. 59, 60, 61, 59, 60, 70, 80, 90 even. Yeah, it's been 7 decades. And I really believe that 1.618. I know if we go beyond 1.618 by more than $100, I'm in big trouble. So that's all I'm doing is what I'm doing when I'm doing that, is to try to line those up. Now, some people say, well, that's stupid to try to pick a top. No, I'm not trying to pick a top, folks. I'm trying to pick a trading opportunity. That's all I'm looking for. I don't know if it's going to be a top or not. All I know is at that particular point, the odds favor me. Remember Louis Pasteur, chance favors the prepared mind, and that's what you're doing with a 1.618. You're trying to do that. You're doing that with all of these ratios. We've talked about Apple here before, but you don't really know. But the one thing that I need to focus on today more than anything else is how the market reacts to the news. And another thing that you have to remember is if you have really bullish news and the market goes down, oh dear, if you ever have bearish news and the market goes up, please be careful, because those are the ones that are most dangerous. Perfect example, October the 19th, 1987, 1,927 issues on the New York Stock Exchange were down. 8 issues were up. You want to bet what those 8 issues did the next day and when the market started up? Stop and think. How can 8 issues be up when we're in the biggest market crash since 1929? The world is coming to an end. The guys at the, the plunge protection teams have plungers, and they're in the toilet, and everybody thinks the world is coming to an end. It was the biggest buying opportunity of that decade, in 1987. The next day, the market made, I believe, a slightly lower low and has gone up ever since, and it is still going up. So that's why you have to remind yourself, you see really bearish news and your stock doesn't go down, be careful. That's the ones that, put you in a hammer hold, and you don't want to get involved with that. So try to remember those things. These are some of the things we like to talk about, of course, when we do the live trading session. We'll do one this fall sometime. And I want to thank everybody, that joined us these last couple times. We've had a great deal of fun. And please, folks, those of you that have done it, make sure you review the 382 patterns, because they are just they're just dynamite. Just reviewing it here, just to the folks that are listening in, there's the one that there's where we were, with the euro. Now, when it breaks above that, that's telling you that that's pretty much, what you're looking at. If you remember that chart that I showed you yesterday from Wells Wilder, one of the things he was looking at for his stop and reverse is when the market retraced more than 38%. That was telling you that something different had happened, and that's actually a pretty good signal for itself to be looking at it. I believe we have a guest tomorrow. That's Cinco de Mayo. Yes, we have Jose Hermanis is going to be on with Dojo Gijo. So both of those will be on to give us a little idea of what's going on in the world of ventriloquisms. It's a big day here in Tucson, folks, tomorrow, because we're only 72 miles from the Mexican border, and everybody really has a good time, and we don't, because we're teetotalers, but the restaurants are full, and we are flat out normal now, boys and girls. The rocking and rolling here in the Pueblo. Some of the schools are open, some of them aren't, but the rest of the stuff, the restaurants are starting to open. You can't find people wearing masks anymore, so it's getting to we're getting back to normal. I hope we never get to where India is, but boy, they have some really, really bad problems over there, and God love them. I hope something happens that they'll be able to get through all of this. I wanted to share with you one other chart that was indicative of potential danger here in the market, and that is the banking index. As you can see here, we've been up for quite a while. You can see the March low that we had there. We had the big ABCD up, and then we went sideways, and then we've exploded up here, and there's a perfect ABCD butterfly pattern. Time and price, everything. I don't know. This was from yesterday. I don't know what it's doing today, but those are a few of the things that we're paying very close attention to. Bear with me 1 second here while I quickly see what prices are doing here, folks, because I'd like to see what is going on with some of these things. And let's take a look at that. Crude's down a little bit. Bada bing, bada boom. S&P. We're down more than one standard deviation, folks. We're down 90 handles from the high, so that puts us down below that level. So we are going to go lower. How much lower? I'm not actually sure, but that's what I'm watching here this morning to take a look at it. The euro has really done very little. It's still it had a little bit of a bounce, but really nothing to pay any attention to. So those are just the ones that we're watching here today. So let's see. If you did any crude oil, folks, put your stop above the high of the day, around 65.76. That way you'd risk about $100, and that's all you have to risk. And if you did the hogs, I have 3 words for you. Buckle thy seatbelt, because this could be a big one. We're way up here, and put your stop at break even on that hog at that 113.30 level, and let's see what happens. We'll be right back. 877-927-6648.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave. Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Hi, folks. This is Steve Rhodes. Stay tuned for another great hour of the Trader's Edge, heard here at TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, and I've been asked to take a look at the old soybean market. I'm going to bring it up here on an hourly chart here, folks, so we can see it really clearly over the last 10 days, because there's nothing's really changed in this market, because we're still in a combination weather market and demand market. You'll see today's high was a 78% retracement of the high that we made yesterday. That was at 15.55. We're now 20 cents lower than that. And believe me, folks, look at these swings we've had. 15.57 all the way down. We dropped 60 cents all the way down, rally up to a 61% retracement, come down, make a double bottom at 14.95. That tells you how important that bottom is. And then we tested it with a 61% retracement at 15.15, and then the high today at 15.55. So this is still bullish. We're just consolidating here. And believe me, the grains are also affected by what's going on in the world for buying and also for supply demand. So all this stuff can be affected. So watch your charts and be really afraid when you see something really bullish and the market doesn't respond well to it. That's a sign of market information is giving you. Many people don't listen to that. They don't pay attention to it. But you really should, because that's what people are doing is when they're putting their real money together is to find whether they believe their idea of the market is either up or down. So that's what I'm watching today. So I hope it helps, and we'll try to have another guest in this week. I know you get tired of listening to my same old stuff all the time, but we'll do one thing at a time. Next week, we got a full boat here. We got Norm Winsky will be on Monday. Tuesday will be David Paul. Wednesday will be Stan Harley. He'll receive his gold medal. And then on the 13th, we have John Person. And then on the 15th, we have none other than Billy Ray Valentine himself. And one of my other guests will be on. So that's what we'll be watching. And, of course, the 25th, we're going to have the Tim Boss on. You got to say our guests that we've had here, they've been great. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. May God bless.